Okay, welcome to the BC Masterclass. This is the second of the series. My name's Tim Gentle from Design Experts, and we're very excited to bring you this series. This series is designed to help you to lift the hood and learn how to change the spark plugs on your website. We're all about building websites here. We're all about online strategy at Design Experts, but we're all about giving you the tools and the education to help you drive it harder yourself. So let's go through the topics of today. The topics are, we're going to be learning how to add a new web page. Pretty exciting when you have the ability just to add an unlimited amount of pages to your website. And from there, I'm going to be showing you how to edit your web page. So once you've created it, how do we go in and add some text and some headings? After that, we're going to be learning how to add links. So I'm going to be showing you how to link to other websites. I'm going to be showing you how to link to, other pages on your site. And then we're going to link to some email addresses as well. I'm then going to spend a bit of time in explaining images and how to work with them on the web, and how to get them from your camera to your website and then onto the web page. After that, I'm going to show you how to add a page to your menu. So a menu is things like home, about, FAQs, and how do we actually add the new page to this menu. I'm going to touch a little bit on the end on training, help and support, so where to go to get more training. And then I've got a new thing I'm going to be introducing to you today called Tim's Tip. So I'm going to quickly show you something to focus on outside of today's lesson. So without further ado, let's get started into the material. I want to do some housekeeping. We have a moderator in the room today. So that's pretty exciting. I've got someone to assist me who's going to be watching the chat room, also watching the questions and people raising their hand. It's our account manager, our Wonder Woman, our advocate of online strategy. It's Erin. So Erin, are you there? Can we hear you, or are you able to join us in terms of that? Let me just see if I can do that. Sometimes we can.
No, I'm definitely here.
Oh, that's very good. We can't see you. You haven't got a webcam on. That's all good, but we can hear you. Any last minute tips for people, or did I cover that off pretty well there?
No, I think you've managed to cover everything there. I think we're all set. Just if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hands or type the questions in the question box in the GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll be able to answer those as we go along.
Beautiful. And Erin, also we'll have the Q&A at the end as well.
Perfect.
Now, the benefits of Business Catalyst. Those that joined us last week were privy of this information, but just to recap, it's your software that you're using to update your website. And so we chose Business Catalyst in 2008 as the content management system because it's really easy to update. I'm going to prove that today. It gives you some control, okay? So rather than having to contact us to do your website or your updates, it gives you the ability to do it. It does grow as your business grows. So some of you may be on our smaller plan, some of you may be on our advanced plan. So as you get more and more complicated or more advanced with your business, or as you want to do more online, we can increase the Business Catalyst, hosting plan as your business grows. It's got everything under the hood, and these webinars are designed to show you everything. And actually it might tantalize some of those people that haven't got the advanced features to sort of step it up a notch. It's updated regularly by Adobe. So Adobe look after the software development. So that's good to know. So you are driving a ship that's being updated by Adobe. Adobe being one of the world's largest sort of software developers. So DE puts the kind of skin on it. We work with you to drive it, but it's, developed by Adobe. And it's hosted on secure data centers across the globe. In fact, your website resides in Sydney. So pretty exciting, and we're really happy to be using it. All right, it's time to jump ship. We're going to be going on to timgentle.com today. And as you would expect, I've developed timgentle.com on Business Catalyst, and I'm about to go and log in. For those that remember from last week, I'll just close this. all you have to do is open up a new tab. I do that by clicking this little square at the top here, and I just type the word admin, A-D-M-I-N, after my domain name, so /admin. And that takes me to a login screen, at which time I have a username and password to log in. I'm just going to sign in now. And then after that, I'm welcomed to the dashboard. So what you're looking at here is the dashboard of timgentle.com. So this week we're going to be focusing on this tab here. It's known as Site Manager. And inside here are a whole heap of tools. Now some of you may not see these as you go through your own website because you'll be on, I guess, the entry-level plan when it comes to the BC hosting plan that you're on. I'm on the advanced plan. It's known as the web commerce package, and it's a little bit more advanced than, say, the web basics. So when you highlight over Web Manager, some of you may not see all of these menus. All right, what we want to do is we want to add a new page. So it's quite simple. You literally just click Pages. This will list all of the pages that you currently have on your website, and you can view it as a list or as a tree. So what I'm doing here is showing you just literally another view of all the pages. Now these square boxes, these are folders, and these white boxes, these are pages. So my first page is a little bit of background and then a little bit about Design Experts and about Tim. These are pages and these are folders. In fact, you can put, I guess, pages in folders if you want to keep it nice and neat. For the purpose of my website, I have all my pages on what's known as the root level of the tree. So I just want to add a new page now. You can see up the top here, I'll just zoom in. I can click on Add Page. Now once you're adding a new page, I'm just going to close down this little announcement at the top here so it can go. There we go. I'm going to be adding a new page. So the first thing is, rule of thumb, just to work your way down slowly, almost like answering the questions that it's asking you for. But here's my tip. Literally just give the page a name. I'm going to call this one Demo. So I'm going to call this Demo, and watch what happens to the URL, timgentle.com/demo. That's really interesting because what that's done is it's created a link directly to the page. So you can have a play around with this. So, you know, you could call it example. And so what it does is it creates the URL, and it says here, look, example-1. And what that means is that there already is a page called example. So it gives you the next, I guess, cab off the rank, which is -1. So just be aware that you can go in and edit these URLs. So if you don't like the name that Business Catalyst has given you, you can come in here and tweak the name. And as a result, you can have a page with a really clean URL. Now we won't be touching too much on SEO today, but those that are in the room that are into search engine optimization, by all means, add some keywords into the page name if you wanted to. So you could come in here and add some keyword that your customers search on. And so what I'm doing here is creating a keyword heavy URL. That's an extreme example, but those that understand that will understand what I've just done there. I'm going to go back to how I had it. And what I've done here is I've just given it a page name, timgentle.com/demo. Now it's asking me what folder I want to save this page in. So remember I talked about that you can save pages in folders. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it at the root level, but I could come in here and choose a folder if I wanted to. At this stage, just continue past all of these settings and come down into the editing area. This is known as the WYSIWYG editor. It stands for what you see is what you get. And all I do, just to get the page started, is I just type the word heading, I type the word subheading, and then I type the word text here. That's all I do. You don't have to do that. I do that as just as a bit of a starting point, and then I click publish. So what I've done is I've just got the ball rolling. I've got a new page called demo, and I've come down into my editing area and I've created, I guess, the foundation moving forward to be able to then go in. Now we can actually view that page online. All right, so let's do that. Down the bottom here, it says preview. So if I click on preview, what it's done is it's brought up this page. No one knows it's there. It's not linked to any menu. It's just operating in the back of the website. But you can see here that we just created that. And what I'm doing here is I'm going in between the different tabs. So I've got my preview here and I've got my editing here. So if I wanted to, I could say heading goes here. Scroll down the bottom, click on update, and then you go back to the tab at the top, the one that has the preview. I'll click it now. And then you refresh the browser. What that means is it brings down the latest view of that web page. Now, depending on the browser you're in, I'm working in Chrome today. There's a little, I guess, a little arrow here. What this does is refresh the page or reloads it. Let's reload it. And you can see here that it's updated. Heading goes here. So what you can do is have one tab open with the editing area and one tab open with your new page. And as you're updating in the editing area, you can refresh and have a look at your handiwork as you're moving forward. So that's kind of a good little tip. All right, so that's how you create a new web page. Pretty simple, isn't it? So what we need to do now is we now need to work with what I call headings. And that's the next topic. So headings. First of all, in traditional sense, when you're working in Word, okay, you would have probably typed in the heading, demo, and then you would have highlighted over the top of the text, and you probably would have come along here and you would have chosen, okay, I'm going to make that one, what's going on here? 28 pixels. So what you're doing is you're making the heading bigger. Okay, so I'll highlight over that. Choose 28. What's going on here? Why isn't that working? And so forth. Okay, it's not working, which is good because I don't want you doing that anyway. So I don't want you touching this. I don't want you touching this. So in here is choosing a different font. In here is choosing a different size. All I want you to do is highlight over the text. And what we've done at Design Experts is we've created a series of headings. And what they're doing is they're pre-styled. Let me demonstrate. When I click this, it says, do you want this to be a heading 1, a heading 2, or a heading 3, or 4 or 5? What I'm going to be doing is making this a heading 1. Come on. I think I'm going to have to click update. I just think the page is a little bit. Let's have a little look here again. Okay. Why are you doing that? Okay, I'm going to take a gamble here, and I think it's because I haven't chosen my template. Now, you don't really need to do this all the time, and depending on how your site's been built could vary. I'm going to adjust the template because I think that's what's causing the issue here. So what I'm trying to do is choose a heading style, but it's having a little bit of an issue. I think this could be the problem. If not, I'm going to go out of this page and back in. I didn't really want to talk about templates today, but we'll see if this is causing the little issue. So I'm going to choose a template. So what is a template? A template is a wrapper that goes around your site, and depending on your website, you could have a follower template, a home template, you might have a media, you'll have lots of different templates. So for my home page, let me just go to my home page here. This is one style of template. You can see here it's got me, it's got some text, it's got this. And when we go to this page, say speaker, this is another template. When we go to about, this is another template. So there's lots of different. When we go to blog, this is another template. Can you see what it's doing? It's putting the text in kind of a different wrapper or a different style. It could be the issue. I know the guys were working on my site just prior to me coming online today. So I'm going to choose follower, and it's a little bit hard to know which one. I'm just going to take a gamble, and I'm going to go follower. It comes up with this little warning. It says you have changed the template. Would you like to? And I always click OK. So anyway, let's just click refresh down here. We'll click update, and I'm going to go back to my website, and I'm going to click refresh. I just want to see, this was the default template prior to me selecting a template. I'm going to click refresh and see what this does. Yeah, she's an old one. So it's worth noting here, this is an old template that I had for timgentle.com a few years ago. So I'm just going to go in now. It's not follower. I'm going to go follower new, and I'm just going to take a gamble here. This is making it a little bit difficult on the fly. I'm going to click update. I'm going to go back to my website and click refresh, and let's see what that does. Okay, so that's that template. It's not the exact one that I want. Either way, what I'm going to do is see if my style works now. I'm going to highlight over the top. This time I'm going to choose heading 1, and it's not going to do it. All right, so what happens, guys, is occasionally this will happen when you're editing your website. Happens to me. So if it happens to me, it's going to happen to you. So my suggestion, go out. I'm going to click on pages here. I'm going to go out of this page. And then I'm going to go back in. So remember we called it demo. So let's scroll down and click demo. Now I'm hoping by going out of the page and back in, this will allow me to style the page. Let's have a go. Highlight. Come on. Yes. I was sweating there a little bit. I have a lot of people in the room today. So look, potentially I didn't need to go up to template. Just to reiterate, I probably didn't need to do that. I probably could have just gone out of the page and back in to get that working. In fact, I'm not really thrilled about using this template today. So I'm going to actually go back to use default template. I'm going to click refresh and you'll see my handiwork. Come on. No. Guess what? I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to push forward. Media, knowledge base, index new. I'm just going to select it. All right, so the next thing is I want to show you what a subheading is. So from here, I'm going to choose heading 3. And what this is doing is it's adding a pre-styled template. I'll click update. I'm moving pretty quickly today. Hopefully you're all keeping up. I apologize for that. And then I'll click refresh. And what this is doing is it's adding my heading 1 and it's adding my heading 3. It's really, really important to use this particular drop-down menu because that way all of your headings will remain the same. What I'd like to do is I'd like to turn it over to the audience. And I'd like to see if anyone out there knows anything about the power of an H1 when it comes to SEO. So why don't you help me out, Erin? Let's see if anyone can raise their hand and we can bring them into the room. While I'm talking about heading 1s, I want to talk about why these particular headings are very powerful when it comes to getting your website ranked in Google. Let's see if anyone in the audience today understands and wants to contribute to that knowledge. Let's just see if anyone's raising their hand. I know that some of you know. I can see a couple of people have raised their hands. So Erin, do you want me to take control, or can you bring, say, Mark into the room?
No, I can fix that up. Sorry, I was just away from my desk working it out.
Okay, do you want to bring Mark into the room?
You'll have to take control on that one, unfortunately. I can't.
I've done that. Okay. So, hi Mark, welcome today. I guess what I'm interested to know is, do you know anything about what an H1 means and why this is so important, this bit of real estate? Okay, there's quite a few Marks in the room. Mark L, you've got your hand raised. Put it down if you don't know the answer. Just wasn't too sure there. Okay, no worries. He's put his hand down. All right, I'm going to jump to Merrin. Merrin, welcome today. Okay, Merrin, you don't know the answer as well. That's all good. Put your hand down then. And have we got anyone else who's raised their hand? Yep, we've got a few others. I'm going to jump to, why don't we jump to Sue? Sue, you're on board today. You know who you are. You've raised your hand. What's the importance of this area up the top here?
I think it's the way that the Google search bots go through a website to look for data.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I mean, what they're eating, Sue, you're kind of on the money there. I've just clicked on HTML. You might notice where my mouse is down the bottom here. If I click on design, it shows, I guess, the editing area. When I click on HTML, this is what the Google bots eat, and you're on the money. So what you're saying is that the Google bot comes in here like a little caterpillar and eats all this up. And the H1, is that what you're referring to? They're going to eat this line of code here?
Yep, that's the one.
So do you know what H1 represents?
Just header 1 as far as I know.
That's perfect. It does. It represents heading 1. And what the Google bot does is it says, oh, okay, anytime I see this tag, any word that follows it, and then you can see here close tag, is really, really important. So I see a lot of the time people just write, say, about us. All right, let me go back into the design view so you can see what I'm doing here. And really, the Google bot gives a lot of points to this particular part of real estate. So it's really important to get some keywords up here as well. So if I was a plumber, and I was a plumber, say, from Mildura, you know, you definitely want to be, putting keywords up into your header 1 tag where possible. Thank you very much for that, Sue. Hope it's all nice and sunny up there in Mildura. Now, moving along, I'm up to the spot where I want to put some text on the page. So we can literally type text, type text out, blah, blah, blah. And when you're typing, no problem at all. Click update. And we can go back to the website and click refresh. So we're able to literally add text onto the page by typing it. But a lot of the time we're given text from a manager, from a business partner, or maybe you've got an email, a PDF, a Word document, and you're asked to add that text to the website. So I want to show you a little trick on getting text from a Word document. You can use this same tip with an email, Word document, PDF. So I've got a little Word document here that I had ready to rock and roll. And what I've got here is a slab of text that someone has given me, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over the top of the text that someone's given me. I'm going to right-hand click and go copy. So I'm copying this text from a Word document, and then I'm going back into my website. Now, when I go into the editing area, I don't just go right-hand click paste, or I don't just click paste here. The reason why is it will bring the formatting across from the Word document. So if it was typed in Times New Roman, if it had red headings and they were bold, all of that dirty sort of code, I call it, or dirty text, is brought across into your nice, clean website. So what I ask people to do is to strip the formatting. So I come over here, and if you have a look where my mouse is up the top here, it says paste as plain text. So let's do that. I'll click on the third button, which is the third pasting option. I'll right-hand click and go paste. And what this does is it's almost like a dumping ground of the content prior to going into your website. Let me click paste now. And you can see here it's stripped all the text back to the original text of what the page can be. So when I click update now, and if I go back to my website and click refresh, this will place all of that text into my website, and it won't adopt any of the formatting from the Word document. That's pretty important because you should be going in and then reapplying the formatting in here. So create a heading 3, click enter, and if you had some dot points, my recommendation is to add those dot points in here. So rather than try and copy dot points across, you might have dot point 1, dot point 2, and so just highlight over the dot points and then just choose the dot points here. So apply your formatting. That's a little issue with my actual template on my website. If any of you ever see this happen on your website, let us know. The developers can take that out. That's just a little bug in the editing area. You can see how it's highlighted over with black. So I apologize for that in the demo, but at the same time, we can remove that. Okay, so do all of your editing in here. Please don't copy across the text. If I go Control V, it'll ask, would you like to clean it? But what this has done is it's brought across some, I guess, dirty code from Word. And I can tell, or we can tell when you've done that, because if we go into the HTML, some people may enjoy this. Some people might go, oh no, this looks like hieroglyphics. But if we ever see span, if we ever see that, we know that that's been copied and pasted from Word or a PDF. All right, you can see here it's kind of got the heading, and that was the one that I pasted directly from Word. So what we often do is, you can see the difference up here. There's no spans or anything in the HTML, whereas here we can see it straight away that that's been pasted from Word. So just a little tip when you're doing that, be careful of pasting directly from Word. Okay, so just to recap, what we've learned so far is how to create a page, how to add headings, subheadings, and text. So we've come a fair way already. But one of the other really big questions that we get asked here a lot is we get asked how to do links. Okay, we get asked how to do links. How do I link to another website? How do I link to another web page? So I'm going to run you through that already. So to help fast track it, I've actually pre-written a lot of this. So I'm just going to grab this now, Control C. I'm going to go back into the website and I'm going to paste it as plain text. So here I've got an internal link. I'll actually make that bold. I've got an external link. I'll make that bold. And an email link. I'm going to show you how to do all three. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it a bit better. All right, so what is an internal link? An internal link links to another web page on your website. So let me demonstrate. Please contact me today. So I would like to, I guess, link to the contact page. That would make sense. So we highlight over the top of the words we want to link. I don't mind if you go forwards and back, but just be careful you don't get any white space. See how I'm grabbing the C to the E? Really important that you do that. Now up the top here, there's a picture of a chain link and a map, or sorry, a sort of a globe. And this is known as the Hyperlink Manager. This is one way to get to internal links. And another way is through custom links. Okay, so both roads lead to Rome. So I'm going to click on Hyperlink Manager. And what this is asking me is, okay, well, where do you want to link to? Well, we don't want to link to another URL or an external site. What we want to do is have a little shortcut here, this tiny little box here. What this does is it gives me access to all of my web pages, all of my documents, my blog articles, my shop, all sorts of things depending on what I'm linking to. In this case, we're going to be linking to a web page and we want to link to the contact page. So I just click contact and then click update. So what this has done is it's made that link active, and it knows that it's going to open up this page. That's really all you need to do there. This little tooltip's kind of cool. It gives a little pop-up box or a little notification when someone hovers over with their mouse. You know, let's pop over to my contact page. And so if you wanted to, that would appear when someone hovered over that link. So now we have a link. Let's see if the hover works. Let's pop over to my contact page. So that's how you do an internal link. An external link is a little bit more difficult, but nothing to be scared about. What I like to do is I actually like to type out, I guess, the company or the website, or you know, the actual name of the business, rather than just put in, you know, please visit www.designexperts.com.au. Because what we can do is we can just highlight over the top of words, and if you recall, we click on the Hyperlink Manager. In this case, we want to link to another URL. We want to link outside of the website. Now my suggestion, always go to the website to double check. So in this case, we want to link to Design Experts. You may want to link to, say, the search engine optimization page, in which case you need the whole URL. So I could highlight over the top, right-hand click, copy, and then when I go back into the website, I now have the whole URL. Now note, if you copy it from your browser, you don't need the HTTP because it adds that already when you copy it. Watch what happens. I just deleted that. I'm right-hand clicking and I'm clicking paste. And what this does is it adds the whole URL, including the HTTP. Now when you're linking to an external URL, I'm going to suggest to link the target to a new window. What this does is it leaves your website open and opens up a new window for the place where you want to send people to. So it doesn't close down your website. And again, why not put a tooltip in there? In fact, you could probably add a little keywords in there if you're interested to get a few more points in Google. But you know, let's pop over to DE's website. Okay, so I've done an external link now to Design Experts website, and that will take me over to designexperts.com.au in a new window. Now the last link I want to show you today, there are more links available, but for purpose of, I guess, this level, we're going to be linking to an email this time. So it says here, please contact Tim directly, I guess via email. You can highlight over the top, click on the Hyperlink Manager again, and in this case, I want you to choose email. From there, type in the email address that you want people to, I guess, contact you on. And then you can set a subject heading for the email. I'm encouraging you to do this because then you can track where this email has come from. So this might be a website inquiry, or if you have it on your, you know, if you're an accountant and you have it on your accounting page, you know, it could be tax planning inquiry. And so you can really tailor the subjects and really help, I guess, track where these leads are coming from. So we'll leave that as website planning, website inquiry, and we click OK. So what this will do is open up an email and put the subject heading in website inquiry. Why don't we test them out? I'll click update. I'm going to go back to the website and click refresh. And you can see here, this is the demo page we're starting to work with. Contact me. Bang. That opens up the contact page. Visit Design Experts. Bang. That opens up a new web tab or a new web window to the page we want. And please contact Tim via email. So that'll boot up, I guess, your email, it will create the new message, and you can see here that it's put in the subject heading that we needed. So that's how you do those 3 links. So if there's any questions, now's your time. If not, I'm going to continue down this road. All right, we've got a few people who want to ask some questions, so why don't we, we'll start off. I can see Sue R.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the CSS class button was when you were in that Hyperlink Manager area.
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, cascading style sheets, if you want to get technical, in one respect, you don't need to worry about it. What Sue's referring to, everyone, is this class. The designer would design the style of your website, Sue, and the developer would use what's called CSS, or coding in one respect, to make it look like the designer had in mind. So this would make links yellow or purple or bold, or really for this you don't need to worry about it. It's more to do with the way the link appears to the end person. So let's have a little look at that. I'll go back to timgentle.com/demo. The CSS of this particular one is making them look blue. Okay, just to give you a bit of a indication there. Hopefully that answered your question there.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got one in the chat room. I'll go with we've got another question first, and then I'll jump to the chat room. Andrew S, fire away.
Yeah, hi. When you clicked on Tim's the email link, the subject was populated as web inquiry. Is there a way to actually change that? So that way you can track. You might have it set up on different pages, and you can then track to see where the rather than have web inquiry, you can have something else.
Yep.
Are you able to do that?
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Yep, I did demonstrate that. I'll quickly just show you one more time. So I'm right-hand clicking and going to properties. That's a shortcut to go in and play with this particular link. And the subject here can be changed to whatever you want. So here, if it was an SEO inquiry, when we click OK and then click Update, now when we go back to this website and click Refresh, when I click on this contact Tim via email, it'll boot up your email and it will put in the subject heading that you wanted. So this now says, you can see here, it says SEO inquiry. So yeah, really exciting when you get to that level, as you said, to track emails coming in. Okay, we've had a question in the chat room. So that was about what is the anchor links. The anchor links I won't be teaching today, but happy to explore that in, say, a more advanced lesson. But an anchor link, what an anchor link is, and just to give you an understanding, it was right here. What this is used for is if you wanted to link further down in the page or even to another page. So if you had some information, for example, further down in the page, so you might have a heading up here that says, read more, and you may want to link that to some content that appears down here. Well, you're anchoring this link to this part of the page. So anchor links are designed to, I guess, fast track people into exactly where you want them to land on the page. So that's what an anchor link is. Yeah, thanks for that. All good questions, but I'm going to have to keep moving along. All right, so the next thing that I was going to be showing you is how to work with images. I just want to make sure that I'm on this. So we've created the headings, we've added the links. Let's have a little look here. So, yep, we're up to adding images. All right, prepare yourself, everybody. This is a pretty important part of today's lesson, and I really want you to really take note, because images and working with images for the web is a little bit technical, but well worth it once you understand how it all operates. All right, I'm going to start at the top. I want to talk about pixels. So pixels, what are they? So pixels are a bit like centimeters in the real world, and a screen has a certain amount of pixels. You may have heard of this before. So in generally speaking, your website, let's say, can you see my mouse here? I'm just showing you on the left there. From here, right across the page to about here is 1200 pixels. So just really a rule of thumb is your website is about 1200 pixels wide. In fact, if you can remember the smaller monitors back about 4 years ago, the 800 by 600, well, you know, we used to have websites that fit those screen sizes. Now on average, we make websites 1200 pixels because screens are getting wider. Now when you take a photo, right, so when you go out with your camera, your iPhone, whatever, and you take a photo, those photos are quite big. In fact, quite often they're around about 4,000 pixels wide, so they're absolutely massive. In fact, I think I've got a couple here. Let's have a look at my desktop. Where are you? Close that down. So I've created a quick folder here, and I'll go inside. So here is a photo that I took earlier. There's a few here. We'll just run with this one. This is a bit of fun. Now, when I highlight over the top of this, it might be a little bit hard to read, so I'm going to read it out. The dimensions, the pixel size of this image is 1632 pixels by 1224. Now, when I go over this one, I used an SLR. That was just an iPhone there, but when I come over this one's nearly 5,000 pixels. Now have a look at the size in terms of megapixels. It's 6.6 meg. Have a look at this one. 577 kbs. So these pictures are good. You know, I've actually compressed this one a little bit already. Compression means to reduce the size both in terms of pixels and in weight. But this one here is a raw image. So it's a 6 meg file. Now, if you were to add that directly to your website, not only would it be a considerably length of time to upload it, but for the end user, it's really slow to download. And not only that, it's 4,000 pixels wide, you know. So it's going to be 5 times, in this case, 4 or 5 times, the size of your website. So it's just huge. So I want to reiterate, by all means, take photos with your camera, no problem. Add them to your desktop, put them into My Pictures, put them into your documents. I don't care where you actually put them. But after that, we need to work with the image prior to uploading it to the web. Now, there's lots of different programs on the web, okay? Lots of different programs. In fact, one that I'm going to recommend today is a free program that you can all download. Let me just show you where to get it. So you go into Google, do a bit of a search, sorry about that, I'll just get it up. And when you're in Google, do a search on Picasa, P-I-C-A-S-A, Picasa. And what this is this is actually a Google product. I'll go to the website so you can see it. So you need to download this and install it onto your computer. And once it's installed, then you can use this to resize and crop and work with images. So I'm going to use Picasa today in my demonstration. Some of you may be more advanced than Picasa. Obviously, you know, Photoshop would be a great program for you to buy, but Photoshop can be quite expensive. But the other one I recommend if you wanted to buy one is called Photoshop Elements. Photoshop Elements is $100. It's an Adobe product, and it's, I guess, more superior than Picasa. And those that are working with a lot of images and really want to, I guess, do more than what Picasa can offer, yeah, this would be a recommended next step. And after that, if you want to step up to the big boy, yes, you could step up to Adobe Photoshop. All right, well, I've already downloaded and installed Picasa. You'll have to do that if you haven't got it. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right hand click on the image. So I'm finding the image on my desktop, and then I'm going to go down to Open With. Once you've installed Picasa, it'll appear here as Picasa Photo Viewer. Let me bring it up. So what this does is it shows you the picture of the, I guess, the picture that you want to work with. So this is just a viewer. But what you want to do is down the bottom here it says Edit in Picasa, or you can right hand click and choose Edit in Picasa. So that's going to take it from the viewer into the editing software where you can manipulate it. Alright, so this has opened it up now in Picasa, and from here I can do quite a few things. The first thing is, let's start off quite basic. We can resize this. Now don't forget, your website is 1200 pixels wide. So if we're going to be dropping an image onto the page, it depends on where you want to put it, but probably around about 500, 600 pixels, maybe 300 or 400 pixels is going to be a great size of an image to drop directly onto the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and click on Export. My mouse is down the bottom here. And when I click on Export, it brings up this dialog box, at which time I'm going to be setting a few things. Let me demonstrate. First of all, it's saying, where do you want to export it? Well, I'm going to export it to my desktop into my photo folder, but I'm going to create one called web-ready. So I know that any file, any photo that's dropped into this folder is ready for the web. Now I leave this ticked. It adds the file name to preserve the order. You don't have to do that, but either way, I leave it ticked. And then it's asking you, well, what size do you want the picture? Currently, it's 1600 pixels. Do you want it at 800? Do you want it at 640, 480? Or you can overwrite that and type in, say, 520. Alrighty, so you can write your own pixel size or just choose one of the pre-formatted ones. Look, I'm going to choose 480 and then I'm going to continue down. Now, how much do you want to compress it? Remember I talked about the, I guess, the size or the weight of the photo. This compresses it. As a rule of thumb, I'm going to encourage you to try and get your photos under about 100K. You could push it to 150 KBs. But yeah, so by compressing it more, maximum compression or normal, this will make the file size a bit smaller. So for some of you, you might want to add a watermark. So if I wanted to, I could put a watermark. So here I could write Design Experts. And this will add a little watermark in the bottom right hand corner of my image if I don't want people to, I guess, right hand click and save that image and use it in other ways. So it's kind of like a copyright in a way. So when I click Export now, what that does is it exports it, it drops it into that folder, and you can see here it's sitting here ready to be used. It's 480 pixels by 360 and it only weighs 42 KB, so that's quite good. But here's another little tip when it comes to SEO. The name of your image is really important. I encourage you to spend a little bit of time in Windows or your Mac in Finder renaming your images. Now when I export, I can't seem to work out how to rename it during the export. So what I do here in Picasa is I actually go back, I right hand click and push rename. And what I'm able to do here is I'm able to then go in and type in Design Experts webinar demo. And what I'm doing here is renaming my images with some keywords. You would rename them with your keywords, of course. But as you can see here, I now have a resized image with some keywords in the name of the image, and that's now ready to be uploaded. But before I upload it, I'm going to show you a couple of other things that Picasa can offer. All right, now we might want to do what's called cropping. What cropping does is, I guess you've got the corner of the room up here. We might want to get rid of that. We might want to clean this up and crop this out. So on the left-hand side here, follow my mouse, top left, you'll see here crop. When I click crop, I'm able to highlight over the image and I'm able to create an area that will crop out that. So I'm moving this around by holding my mouse down. So what I'm going to do here is click, I think I like it there. I'm going to click apply. My mouse is on the left hand side here. So what this does is it crops out the background, at which time I can come down here and export it again. You do have to repeat this process. It's a little bit annoying, but you go web ready, 480. Do I want a watermark? Yes or no? Export. And what that's done is it's dropped in now the cropped image, at which time I can come in here. I just double click on here and I'm grabbing the name of that file. I can click on here again, Control V. That's just a little shortcut. And then I'm going to be going crop, just so I know that that's the difference between these two. The other thing Picasa can do is you can add some text. So by all means, click on the text on the right. You can choose a color, a font. I can choose orange if I want to. I can just make that a little bit more orange. Where is my orange? That'll do. You can change the font. So I'll just choose something a little bit different. And the size. And so here I've got a text bar which I can type Design Experts Webinar Demo. I'm able to move this around by dragging it with my mouse. I'm placing it up the top here. Probably not the best of fonts, but that's okay. And at which time I can now type over the top. But I'm going to click Apply. And what I've done is I've dropped some text onto the image, scroll down to the bottom and click Export. And then I'm going to be exporting that as well. So I'm creating that web ready folder. If you've already got it, it doesn't add it twice. It just drops the photo into the same folder. I'm going to take away the watermark this time, and then I'm going to click Export. So that time it's dropped a third one. See if I've got that still in the memory. Control V, I do. And I'm going to click on text. So what I've done here is I've got 3 images. I've exported them using Picasa and they're now ready to be uploaded to the web. So that's really a really brief overview of Picasa. If you need any more help, I'm sure that by clicking on the help file here, you'll be able to go in and get some more help on Picasa. Okay, we've got to get them up onto the web now. Time is, I guess, running away from us. So I'm going to be jumping back into the demo. So I want to get the image onto my page. So how do I get it from the desktop? How do I get it up onto the website? So this little button here, this is known as the, I'll just zoom in so you can see it. This little one here of a mountain and a sun. This is known as Image Manager. So the tip is place your cursor on the page, come up here and click on the Image Manager, and it'll say, all right, whereabouts is this image that you want to insert? Well, let's just explain what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at all the folders on my website. I'm going to go into Images, and then I've created another folder by clicking on New Folder called Demo, purely for today's webinar. And in here, I want to upload those files so then I can insert them onto the page. So I have to click on Upload. I double check the link to make sure it's going into the right folder, and now I'm clicking Select. What I want to do is I want to upload these. Now I need to do them one by one, so I'm going to click on Select. There's another one, and what I'm doing is clicking Open, and then I'm going to click on Add, and I'm going to add this last one which has the title. So what I'm doing is I'm telling the website to suck all these up off my desktop, and I want to upload them so I can use it. So I've just clicked on the blue upload button now. It's bringing them up off my desktop and it's uploaded them into a folder in my website. I can double check that they're there. Here I am on the right. This one has the text at the top, and this one here is just the first one. So what I'll do is I will grab the crop one, and I'm now going to insert this onto the page. So what this has done is it's dropped it onto the dance floor. Let me zoom out so you can see it a bit better. So I've got the picture on the dance floor. I'm going to click update. And what this does is it saves the page. Let's just go back to the demo site. And you can see here that that picture is now on the page. So that's pretty exciting. You've seen how I've got that and I've uploaded that. Now I can position that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position it up here. The way to do this is you need to right-hand click on the image and then click Properties. Inside Properties, I'm going to encourage you to lock it. So this locks the ratio, so you don't have to do that, but I always sort of keep my eye on that. You can have alternative text. So Tim Gentle delivers a free webinar for DE clients. And that'll, I guess that's the alternative text, that what happens is when it's downloading the image or when someone rolls over with their mouse, that appears. But what we want to be doing here is we want to align it. So you click on that little arrow there, and I'm going to align this to the right. Moving further down, we want to give it an invisible barrier. I'm recommending 10 pixels. So I'm clicking in each cell and I'm typing 10. You can use the arrows, but I find this a lot quicker. So this is adding a 10 pixel border around the image. So that's moved it over to the right, but it hasn't moved it to where I want to go. So what I need to do now is I click on the image and I click and drag. Now before I do that, I want you to watch my cursor. It'll appear over here on the left. You can see my cursor's next to the word today. It's flashing right there, right? Watch what happens. When I'm moving this image, I'm now moving it. You'll see it next to the word directly. Now website today, website, website. And I'm scrolling up, and can you see how it's next to the word heading? I'm now going to release that. And what this has done is it's placed the image up there. Now I can keep dragging it up and release. Dragging it up and release. And what I've done there is I've simply positioned that where I want it to appear on the site. Let's click update and go back and look at the handiwork. Refresh. So what this has done is it's moved it over here to the right. It's added the text running down the left. The image is probably a little bit big, so you can go back, click on the image, and if you're really interested, you can right-hand click and go to Properties, and you can adjust the size here. So if I wanted to, I could make this 300, and that'll resize it. Note when I lock it, it holds the aspect ratio. So I've resized it to 300. I'm going to click update. I'm going to go back to the page and click refresh. And you can see here I've resized it to 300 and it's probably fitting a little bit better on the page. So that's working with images. There's a lot more to it, but again today that's a really good start for you to sort of get your head around it. Now the last topic of today, and I understand if some people do have to go, we did start 10 minutes, I think about 5 minutes late, so I'm going to continue on if you don't mind. I need to add this page to a menu. So no one knows that this page exists except I guess you and I. You know, nowhere here can I find it. But we want to add it to maybe under speaker. So let's do that. Up here where it says action, we can click on the action box and then scroll down to, where is it? Add this page to a menu. When I do that, it'll take me to I guess a pop-up box, and it'll say, all right, you want to add this page to a menu, do you? Which one? Some of you may have 5 menus, 2 menus, 1 menu. In this case, I know that the header menu is the one that runs along the top of my page. So I'm going to click on header menu. And you can note here that it's added it to the end. In fact, that's not where we want it. We want it to appear under speakers. Speaker. So on the right hand side, when you click customize, this brings you into the menu module. Have a look here. Site Manager, Menu. So we've actually shortcut into the menu module. Now, it's as easy as dragging it and dropping it. All right, so dragging and dropping it if you want it to be a drop-down menu. So I'm going to release that now. And what it's done is it's dragged it from next to contact as a drop-down here. Now I'm going to give that a capital. I want to make sure it's capital D for demo so I can go back and customize the label. I'm going to click update, and if all goes well, if I go back to my website and click refresh, I'll go to the home page. When I highlight over speaker, no, I'll go to speaker, I think we were working on that. When I highlight over speaker, you can see here that it's added demo. Okay, it's added demo to the drop-down menu. So when I click on demo, there's the page. So that's a great way to add a page. So work on it behind the scenes, and then when you're ready to add it to a menu, that's how you do it. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, the other way is this. I'm going to quickly delete this item. Okay. All right, so I've deleted it. I'm going to go back to Site Manager and click on Menus. I'm going to go into the header menu now. So I'm going into the header menu. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new one. So you can just add it manually. Demo. It's saying, okay, you want to add a new label, demo, but what website, what web page do you want to open? So we can come along here and we can select the link. I'm going to scroll down and find my demo page. Click update. And so here, I've actually just gone demo, done, and then it asks, what parent do you want this to sit under? So I want to pigeon that under speaker. So they're the three things, the label, the URL, and the parent. So if I click Save Item now, that's just another way of adding it. Some people may want to know this advanced tip. For example, when I click Demo, I can now unenable that so the public can't see it. So when I click Unenable, Update, you'll see here that that's been disabled. So when I go back to the website and click Refresh, roll over speaker, it's not there because it's been disabled. Okay, so when I come in here and click on enabled, update, refresh, that now has been enabled, and as a result you can see it. So sometimes you can get all your menus ready and just disable them until you have the pages ready. So that's pretty exciting, and it's kind of brought us to the end of today's webinar. So it's exciting that you've learnt all these things today. I just want to recap. So you've learned how to add a new page and add text. From there you learned how to do some headings, H1s, H2s. We added some external, internal and email links, and then we worked with Picasa to upload, I guess, cropped and compressed images. We then finished off by adding I guess your page to the menu. We went into the menu manager to do that, or we used the shortcut link when you're working on the page. I just want to reiterate, let's go through that, my apologies, where you can get some more training. So don't forget, everybody, on designexperts.com.au/ccc, that'll take you to our customer care center. If you haven't got a login for that, please let us know. There's some great training modules in there. We also run webinars. Obviously you're part of one today, but we'll be running these every 2 weeks for the rest of the year. We've also do one-on-one training. So if you want to actually know how to update your website in particular, you can book a one-on-one training session. And this is not a bad link to go to if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Business Catalyst. If you head to this link here, you'll get some other training videos. Now you're welcome to call us on 1300 85 25 82, and that way then we can work out what best training is based on your requirements. Now you can submit a support ticket for those that are sort of well and truly entrenched in DE. You know all about this, but if you visit Design Experts website, up here there's a button that says Help Desk. So I encourage you to click on that link and submit a support request. You can email support, okay, so you can simply email support@designexperts.com.au. You can give us a call or you can visit that knowledge base. All right, we're up to the last part, 30 seconds, 1 minute. Let me end off with responsive web design. Let's have a little look. So what is responsive web design, and really, is your website responsive? Here is perthcollege.com.au. So Perth College has a responsive website solution. And we can tell that by, if we click on this little button in the right hand corner, it's kind of allows us to resize. And watch what happens as I bring this website in. I'm just going to drag it, and I'm going to drag it across. And if you note, can you see how this is changing the way the website looks? And so I'll just close this and move it over here. Ah, come on. A little bit touchy. This is what it would look like on a smartphone. So this website has responded to, I guess, the space it has to display. And so let's move it out a little bit more. This might be, I guess, a larger sort of smartphone. You click on this one here and it's got the menu behind it. So this is what you would see if you were on a smartphone, and then we'll move it out. This is what you might see on a laptop. And then again, this is what you would see on a larger desktop. So I encourage you to go onto your website. Let's have a look and see if timgentle.com is responsive. So I'll move it in. Yeah, that needs a bit of work. But here you can see this is what it looks like on a smartphone. And the menus here drops down from the top. So if you would like your website to be made responsive, I encourage you to email support@designexperts.com.au or get in contact with your account manager, because really these days a lot of people are visiting your website on a mobile. So ensure that your website design is upgraded to be responsive. Contact the studio or give us a call. So that brings us to the end of our webinar today. I'm going to ask a pretty please with cherry on top, okay? I absolutely would be thrilled, and if you could help me out, visit facebook.com/designexperts, and I would love you to leave a review. So you do that by visiting our page, clicking on review, and please let us know how you found this useful. What could we do to improve? You know, we're trying here to educate you, make your business grow, and we would love it if you could give us some feedback on our Facebook page. So the next topic, everyone, I'm just grabbing this on the recording, is BC Powerful Modules, making it easy for you to take control. For you, you're either registered or you haven't registered, but we encourage you to go on and register for the next module, or give us a call and we can register for you. So yeah, thanks for that question. Ad rotators will be covered in the next topic.